All right, so you've decided to create a business plan for your indie author business. Amazing. Now you're probably wondering, what should you even include in it? That's what I'm going to cover in this video. So this is actually video 2 in a 4-part series all about creating your indie author business plan. If you have not watched video number 1, I definitely recommend watching that one first, seeing as it goes through the entire big overview of the process that I'm going to be walking you through throughout this entire series. But today, what we're going to actually be talking about is the first big piece of your author business plan, which are those business foundations. Hello and welcome back. If you are new to this channel, my name is BRIT, and this channel is all about helping you build a thriving career as an indie fiction author. Today we're going to be talking about what are the key pillars of your business foundation when it comes to creating a business plan for your indie author career. This is going to include the high-level information of your author business, including your legalities, your mission, as well as the products that you're going to be creating. So there are going to be 5 key components of this business foundation section of your business plan that we're going to cover in today's video. The first one is what I like to call the basics. Here you're going to want to decide on your publishing name, whether that's your given name or whether you're going to be using a pen name, as well as the legal structure of your business. So whether that is going to be an LLC or whether you're going to operate as a sole proprietorship. Now this is going to look very different depending on what it is that you want your individual author business to look like. Now I'm not a lawyer, and so I can't give you actual legal advice, but I can tell you how I've structured my author businesses in the past with my own pen names. So in my example, I have a few different businesses that operate under the same umbrella company, which is my LLC. And inside of that LLC, I actually have nonfiction as well as fiction and a couple pen names spread throughout. So for example, when I'm publishing journals and planners for authors, I use the pen name BRIT P. Poe, which is still under that same umbrella company. And then when it comes to my fiction work, I have actually registered a DBA that I call Quarter Fantasy for all of my fantasy publications, and under that DBA I have a couple of pen names that published under that as well. But everything is actually still structured under that umbrella company. That's how I have personally done mine, but there are so many different ways that you can organize your business as an author, again, whether you chose to do LLC or whether you decide to stay a sole proprietorship. Now, after you get the basics all planned out, you're going to want to move on to that second key component, which is your financial plan. Bare minimum important things to include in your document that you keep track of is what the name of your bank is and what your cash flow plan looks like. Now, if you're just starting out as an author, you may be wondering, what expenses am I to expect right now at this point, even if I'm not published yet? And so let's talk about some costs and expenses really quick. These could include things like office supplies, book editing fees, cover design fees, launch expenses, the list goes on and on. You'll also want to write out any recurring fees that you may be having. For instance, web hosting, if you get charged a monthly or annual fee for your web hosting, write that into your costs and expenses. It is true that as indie authors, in the beginning at least, and maybe for some even for the first couple of years, that we are mostly investing into our business until the point that we begin making a profit. So in this section of your business plan, it's a really good idea to consider where that money is coming from that you're going to use to invest into your author business and how that is actually going to be spent. If you really wanted to be detailed here, you could include the budgets for each of those expenses as well. And then in addition to the money that's going out of your business, you should also have a plan for the money that's coming into your business. This is called a cash flow plan. What is your plan for all of the money that comes into your business? Are you currently making a profit? Or is that money that's already coming in, is that going to be applied to help you get out of the red? If you're completely lost and you have no idea what I mean when I say cash flow plan, I definitely recommend checking out this book called Profit First by Mike Michalowicz. This is my favorite book on cash flow management. It's a great introduction. It's a great strategy behind it. I use it in my own businesses, and I recommend this book to all of my indie author clients as well. And if, like me, you're a big nerd when it comes to the numbers and you really want to know just how many book sales it's going to take to bring a profit into your author business and lots of other cool calculations, be sure to grab this fun calculator to see those numbers and more. So after you have the basics and your financial plan pinpointed, now it's time to move on to the section all about market analysis. This is a section where you're going to be asking some pretty important questions when it comes to the products that you're going to be creating, aka your books. Some of the information that you can include here are: what kind of books do you write and publish? What genres, themes, and tropes appear in your market as a whole? Who is your ideal reader? What are their likes and dislikes? Where can you find them? What do they enjoy reading? And all of that important information. And then finally, you'll want to look at the competition. Now, I use this word lightly because I personally believe that as an indie author, your competition can actually be your best ally. But for the sake of an explanation here on what I'm talking about, we'll use the word competition. I almost like to look at my competitor research as a list of other authors I would love to collaborate with or connect with. But looking at their books and their business practices can uncover a whole gold mine of information for you when it comes to planning your business as well. Now, after you get done looking at your competitors for your business plan, it's time to narrow your vision here and look at your own products. First off, you're going to want to list what books have you already currently published, which ones are planned, and which ones are possibilities. Also, are there any other streams of revenue that you have coming into your business, whether that's from maybe another service or another product outside of your books? Once you have that basic information down about the books that you currently have and plan to have, then you can begin looking and listing down a couple other key important things. So the first one is your production process. Knowing your individual book production process is so helpful for the future, because once you begin getting down a general workflow from taking a book from idea to launch, you can really start to begin streamlining that process so that things work much smoother as time goes by every single time that you go to write a new book or launch. If you are a new author and you aren't really familiar with your own personal processes when it comes to book development, then you pretty much just start with a guess here. You can start with a rough outline, knowing that it will shift and evolve as time goes by, and you really begin to uncover what your personal preferences are when it comes to book development. The third piece of information here under your product section is going to be the available format that your books are going to be published. Again, this is another piece of information that's super individual to what genre you write or what your budget is for publishing, but these could include an ebook, paperback, hardback, or audio version of your book. And like I said, this is individual. So for example, a children's book author may stick to hardbacks, while a new fantasy author may start out initially publishing as an ebook and then work up to releasing paperbacks and other versions in the future. Next here, when it comes to the product section of your business plan, are the distribution options. Basically, you're going to want to ask yourself, where am I going to want to distribute my books? Are you going to stay exclusive to Amazon, or are you going to publish wide? That seems to be the biggest question when it comes to indie authors and their strategy distribution-wise. If you are exclusive to Amazon, then you can begin to ask questions like, well, am I going to use Kindle Unlimited, or am I going to enable extended distribution? On the other hand, if you decide to go wide, you'll need to decide where else you want your books to be sold. Will you sell your book mainly through online avenues, or will you try to get your book inside of brick and mortar bookshops? Will you reach out to local indie bookshops, or do you have a plan to try to get your books inside of public libraries? So far, we've covered the basics, your financial plan, your market analysis, and your products. The fifth and final piece here of the foundation part of your business plan is going to be your marketing overview. This is the high-level view of the specific strategies that you're going to use to reach your readers and build an audience, as well as sell your books. The first part of this is a visibility strategy. So how are you going to get more eyeballs on your brand and your books? Social media, blogging and SEO, events, and all of those other kinds of things can be incorporated here. Next up is your list building strategy. An email list is super important when it comes to being an indie author. So what ways are you going to build that list, and what value are you going to provide your subscribers in order to get them to stay? Next up is your launch strategy. So these are the steps and activities that you're going to take to release a new book. And finally, here is your sales strategy. So this is really similar to your launch strategy, only here we're thinking about more long-term evergreen marketing systems that are going to sell your book, whether you're in the middle of a launch or not. It really helps here to think about the general sales funnel as a whole when it comes to considering what sales strategies you want to use in your author business. Woo! I know that was a lot of information and your head is probably spinning right now, but if you've made it this far and watched this video through, congrats! Thanks for sticking with me. I have a special gift for you if you want to grab this Indie Author Business Plan template. It's a 100% free Notion document template that I'll send right on over to you if you head on over to thrivingscribes.com/plan. It will help you take everything that we talked about in this video and actually implement it into a business plan of your very own. Once you've grabbed that Notion business plan template, please make sure that you're liked and subscribed to this channel, because next week we're going to be talking all about the third part of this business plan series, where I'm going to be talking about business models for indie fiction authors. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next week.